I can't quite contain or explain my evil ways.
Well, what is up, everybody? Enderheart here with another Gravity Falls fanfiction rating, and today we will be doing more of Cipher Secrets. Now, when we left off, I watched back the video, and apparently it gets cut off at the end, which is ridiculous because it was a great cliffhanger. So anyway, if you're smart enough to go onto the fanfiction and read the rest of the chapter that got cut off but didn't continue on because you wanted to see me read it, but if you did, it's fine. Just please do not post spoilers in the comments. They will be deleted immediately. Unless, of course, I miss them, which I definitely won't. But anyway, the last part, Dipper is woken up by Bill, and he is crying. So we'll be reading more of Cipher Secret today. Cipher Secret and Tree and the Runaway get confusing. I think I might do one fanfiction from one fandom and then from the other one. So if you guys have any MLP, Steven Universe, Star vs. Forces of Evil, bros, come on. That show is awesome. I'm being Star for Halloween. Woo! Put up that picture of Lily right now. Put it up. Yeah, put it up. That's what I said. I said put it up. Okay. Anyway, let's get on with the fanfiction. Blech, I always blabber for like. By the way, I've been going into a lisp recently. But this chapter is a little bit confusing. So, it's back with Dana and Daniel. Okay. It was him who killed the fallen angels. Dana and Daniel exchanged worried glances upon hearing these words. Something told Dana to stay because this world would be dangerously funny, but Danielle had other plans that involved getting Dana and running out there as fast as they could. Azaf, on the other hand, was worried for his friends. That was an extremely dangerous mission that could go wrong in many hellish ways. That was the only reason you needed to run fast as your legs would allow you to, until you trip or something, like he did. However, this hunt would lead them to the truth, and he was afraid that they would abandon it because this important information about Bill's son, a touchy yet intriguing subject. Their own mentors forbid them to talk about it and canceled their lessons right away after they started talking about the subject. Daniel's facial expression showed happy he was about the idea and probably would never agree with it, depending on his mood. However, a few seconds after he said that, Dana gave her truthful opinion about the subjects. If that hunt's gonna make us understand this freaking mess, then I'm in. And nothing would change her mind. Should drink something. Hey, I got soda in the fridge. Daniel sighed as his sister's stubbornness and thirst for adventures and anything that involves her in danger. That was something so impressive to see, according to Azaf. He did know Dana was crazy at the point of almost putting her in an asylum, like really. But he didn't know she was crazy enough to risk her life. Like Lily. There were times when Dana, even if remotely, showed true fear of losing her own life due to pointy objects, poison, wild animal attacks, etc. Her answers were unexpected, but Azaf understood her thirst. It says her thirsty for knowledge and truth. Her thirst for knowledge and truth. I correct a lot of things. Oh no, I'm gonna die. Okay, sorry, I'm playing Minecraft at the same time. Because there's lightning everywhere. I guess I don't have a choice, do I? Dana smirked at her twin, noticing how she got him in as well as just by agreeing with the mission. He cared about her well-being. After all, she had always known that, and he had always shown that. Azaf, I hope you know what you're doing, Daniel warned while glaring at his partner with flashing green eyes that showed danger but challenge but then changed his voice to its tone of something doubtful, interrupting the black-haired when he was about to talk. Although, what will we do if our mentors come? What will we tell them? They already know what we're doing, you know. Notification. Azaf sighed after being interrupted and nodded at his friend's concern. Because it wasn't just a simple worry. It was like messing with the spirits. And he wanted the exorcist one. The girl that needed some makeup. However, this was no time for questions. It was time for action. This is why they were there. As the mission's leader and the group's brain, Dana and Daniel rolled their eyes at the speech's beginning. He would start again with a new motivational speech about... Actually, they zoned out much during these speeches that they didn't even know what they were about. Azaf was really like Kinessi in a few ways. I say we must search for clues that will lead us to a definite answer. Azaf narrowed his eyes upon noticing Daniel had zoned out again. As if the mentors, he said with a strong voice tone, snapping Daniel out of his thoughts. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. The twins exchanged glances and nodded in agreement. Okay, Dana, you go to the east side of the forest. Daniel will go to the west, and I'll search for anything here. This will be our meeting point in case of our mission failing, okay? They nodded again. If you find something, anything, shout or call us. Or just shout. I'm sure we'll be there. I'm sure it will be a way to call us. Okay, let's start this. And with this, the three high five, classic high five, cheering out their new goal before splitting and going into different directions. This will be one hell of an afternoon after all. Well, this will be one hell of a chapter. Hopefully. It's actually really short. While walking, Dana had more important things to worry about than the mission. First thing was her feelings, to begin with. She felt so sad and so happy at the same time, like something was missing and found at the same time. It was something that she couldn't comprehend, since she almost never had other feelings than the thirst for trouble and pranks at all. Her brother was the emotional one, but it seemed like the emotions were contagious, after all. The second thing was about everything else. Their parents were getting suspicious about some things, especially about the day when Daniel managed to put both kids' backpacks up on the roof while training object teleportation. Things weren't really easy at their home, but she managed to do it well. It was kind of hard to explain how two heavy backpacks ended up on the roof, though, but Dana was such a good liar that it was easy to deceive her parents. It was almost like she could deceive herself, too. Of course, as demons, one of their parents was a demon, but why were they so nervous about discovering their true lineage? Wait, does that mean, like, Dipper's... What? Dipper's mom was very religious, unlike her father, so it was obvious that the father was a demon. I'm not religious at all. Oh my god! Oh my god! That's just one of the factors. Okay, let's keep reading. This may be why they shouldn't talk about being demons. Knowing this would scare their mom, they had to keep this a secret. Living in Gravity Falls was a good idea, or it seemed to be at first. Dana and Daniel Sayrid, the Trouble Twins, as people used to call them, because back then, Daniel also enjoyed pulling pranks on people. He had been fascinated with the supernatural beings of actions, like Dipper. However, while Daniel preferred to read about them, like Dipper, other than going around hunting barf fairies. I want to see a barf fairy. Barf fairies and stuff like that. Dana was more the exploring type, always wandering around and never stopping at one place. However, she had never left the town to go anywhere, especially the forest, because it sounded too threatening and dangerous, according to Dan, and he was pretty good when it came to precaution, so she would never go there. It was until their first mission when they had to go to the forest and discovered a field of poisonous flowers while finding a lizard with wings. How ironic is that? It was even funnier because Deanna thought those flowers weren't threatening in any way. She almost touched them because of her nativity when it comes to flowers. Maybe that was why Deanna had never seen these flowers before in her life. Because she had never had interest in flowers at all. It's because she never gone to that poor excuse of a forest. In fact, oh man, I got a poor excuse of a forest right behind me. I'm going to use that term from now on. In fact, Deanna wondered how the citizens of Gravity Falls themselves didn't notice the strange things happening around. It was everything too suspicious for her, but the red-haired one never thought about actually searching about it. And that was one mistake. They'd almost never left their house, which made them completely oblivious to the world. When Beatrice came telling the twins they were half demons and she was there to get Daniel as their apprentice, Deanna was eager to join them. She wanted it so badly, like a child wanting candy during Halloween. But you're supposed to get candy on Halloween. Beatrice only wanted one apprentice, especially because they usually get shocked after their secret of being demons is said, and that may affect their brain functions in some way, like Dipper. She once told them that a boy started to throw up rainbows, and it was pretty funny to watch. A gnome? However, they were different. The twins were both so fascinated by the fact they were mystical creatures that they were really happy to be demons, even if their parents were Christians. This made them suspicious since his dad didn't seem like being a Christian that much, and it would make sense if he was a demon. But wouldn't their mother have known in that case? Daniel said that he wouldn't be Beatrice's apprentice if Deanna didn't go with him. And so that's how Bea got double trouble with the twins. She murmured while looking at the floor. It was time to stop thinking about the past and start living the present. Deanna had to find anything that would tell her the fallen angels were there. She was half demon, so in theory she was able to see their invisible like feathers. Maybe that is what she's looking for. Suddenly, she sees something on the floor. It's a black and white feather lying on the ground under the soft. See, my voice is really bad. Lying under the ground under the soft earth. It was funny that the red hair didn't see that there at once, especially because it was in the middle of the day and everything black and white wouldn't be recognizable. Deanna's eyes widened in such excitement she grabbed the feather's mane and shouted, "I found something!" And as soon as she said that, his warning rang through her mind like a church bell. But watch out. If you happen to find one, never touch the vein. Never. Did she touch it? Deanna gasped dramatically as she let the feather fall to the floor near her and closed her eyes, waiting for the end. Seconds passed. Oh, it's Dipper's feather. Waiting for the end. Seconds passed and nothing happened. Deanna opened her eyes as she raised an eyebrow. What? I was supposed to die. Did I become a zombie? No, that wouldn't work. Also, I don't feel like eating brains right now. The red-headed girl told herself as she looked down at the feather and grabbed it from the floor, analyzing it carefully. She was touching the vein again. Nothing seemed to happen. Yeah, this was awkwardly embarrassing. She tried to pay attention for the details. Lost my place. She tried to pay attention to the details. The single feather, which miraculously had the veins straight and organized, was a mix of black and white. While the black color surrounded the feather, there was a circle of white in the middle. Oh, it's like a peacock feather. The feather seemed to be pretty imperfect that it was hard to believe it was real. Dana was snapped. Oh, it's Dipper's feather, of course. Dana was snapped out of her trance when somebody knocked the feather off her hands and onto the floor. The feather fell graciously onto the floor in the wind. The person wasn't really kidding when he knocked the feather off. She didn't need to know who it was. Are you crazy, Dana? It was definitely her twin brother, Daniel. As I've told us not to touch the vein. Are you deaf or something? This made Dana really angry. Spinning on her heels to face her brother, Dana narrowed his eyes. These aren't fallen angels' feathers, she answered simply, catching the feather and clearly touching the vein to make a point. Remember that bird when it touched the flower and fell dead on the field? When we battled that giant Godzilla-like dragon? Dana asked. Daniel raised an eyebrow in realization. Yes. Oh. Yes, Azaf answered instead of his friend. It has been a traumatizing experience for us all, and we know it, because we have lived it. But why do you act... Oh, I get it now. When your skin enters in contact with the poison, it takes a few milliseconds for you to fall dead on the floor. However, you touched it on the point for more than 2 seconds when Daniel knocked the feather out of your hands. Now you're touching it for more than 5 seconds, which means the feather does not have any poison. The black-haired boy nodded before continuing his confusing explanation. The poison enters through the skin and reaches the nearest vein it can find and affects all the blood and vessels and quickly reaches the heart. It causes a painless yet quick death, he finished. You could have simplified that for me, Daniel said, puzzled as he blinked after the large explanation. His twin didn't seem to care about it. Also, Dana said, handing Azaf the feather. He hesitantly grabbed it, analyzing every inch of it. It is black and has one white circle in the middle. Cute and amazing, but I don't get how the feather is such perfect. What was the name of that thing? Dana narrowed her eyes, focusing to remember the word. Daniel facepalmed, just when he thought his sister was creating some brain cells. You mean a pattern, as I've suggested? Dana snapped her fingers in agreement. Yep, that's the name of it, she said, nodding while smiling. They could have forgotten to put poison in one of the feathers, but did the fallen angels, wherever they are, had wing patterns or something? Dana asked. Daniel smiled upon noticing how observant his sister was being. For the first time, she was actually being serious about something, which almost made him happy, since Daniel still liked his old sister better. A troublemaker at heart. The troubles she caused to the society what made him happy to be her twin. Azaf checked the feather twice before handing it to Dana. It's not a fallen angel's feather, Azaf stated, glancing at the feather carefully. They don't have patterns. Each wing has a different color. Black wings for angels, white wings for demons. Why? Daniel had one doubt about the last sentence. That wasn't what he usually heard about demons and angels. Not according to most of the humans, or about 95% of the churches. Interesting. Shouldn't it be the other way around? Yep, he suggested, making Azaf notice him. I always thought angels had white feathers since, they're angels, and the white color is related to light and purity, while the black color is related to darkness and evil. Right, Dana? His twin suggested in response. She had never cared about the colors and their freaking meanings. Dad told me about that. He's a Christian. Your father is wrong then, Azaf said faithfully. He trusted his own knowledge. That's what humans think and share because they have created meanings for colors. According to the true meaning, demons are agitated and unstoppable creatures, while angels are quieter and peaceful. It's the yin-yang rule, the black, the passive one, and the white, the active one. That was what he once read in a book, and Azaf trusted his book with his own life, like a firefighter or something. Books can also save lives by giving people knowledge. You know that? The twins exchanged glances before nodding. Glances. Both always the opposite in appearance, but so similar inside. Well, if it's this not a fallen angel's feather, Dana stated, hesitating to ask this again, because it was the answer might not be what she wanted. Then whose feather is this? Azaz stopped and glared at her, as if he never thought about this question. After all, it had to be an unnatural creature, since it had such a beautiful, unnatural feather pattern. He had never seen a demon with a feather like this before. I don't know. Daniel facepalm. But the pattern is too well designed. Whoever this thing is, it's not human, angel, or demon, or anything related to these three. Azaf extended his hand to grab the feather. Daniel gave it to him, wondering why a feather like this would be so important. Oh, is it, a Ronde's feather? It might be a Ronde's feather. It has no poison, which indicates that it's not a fallen angel's feather, but it's not a demon or angel's as well. Azef's eyes widened. You know what? I'll keep this. I think I know whose feather this is. Ooh! It is Dipper! Fine, Dana nodded, a little angry that her friend decided to keep a feather that she had found, not him. As long as you return it to me later. Sure, Azaf rolled his eyes in amusement. He put the feather in his jacket pocket and turned to the twins, clapping his hands to get their attention. So, have you two found any other clues? The twins shook their heads and Daniel started protesting, as well as his sister did. We just started out hunt like 5 minutes ago. Why do you expect us to find something so fast? We're not superheroes. You know that? The male twin asked in a word, throwing his hands in the air as he started to look around, seeing if there was some more clues. After finding none and not even bothering to look behind, he turned to Azaf and narrowed his eyes. It's not like we're going to find any clues out of nowhere. And what's that? Dana asked, pointing to a paper. What's that? Dana asked, pointing to a paper pinned in a tree. What? Pinned in a tree behind Daniel. The red-haired boy turned his head and groaned in frustration upon seeing a notebook's paper attached to an old tree, because he had actually turned around. If he had actually turned around, he would have obviously noticed it. Daniel walked to the tree and yanked the paper off, looking at it. Azaf and Dana perked from behind his shoulders, trying to get a better look, though they could have just stayed at his side for a better view of the paper. Letters were blurry, but were good enough to read. I'm sure that, by the riddle-looking appearance, we will never understand this, Dana said in a negative aria. Azef and Daniel sighed at the girl's precision. Whatever it is, I'm sure that I'll understand, Daniel affirmed his sister, who shrugged. He had wanted and read many things about riddles, and it was the time to use what he had learned in the movies, apart from where you are a side character and you die. They started to read, and Daniel did it out loud, since he was the one holding the paper with better vision of the letters. The truth you seek is near. To solve this case, 3 challenges you will face. To banish the once forgotten heritage, the truth is in the books you see. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Be careful and beware. Humanity will see darkness and fear of his wrath. Damn it, Bill's son! What a jackass. There's nothing about this I understand. It has to be Bill's son. Humanity will see darkness and fear. Humanity will see darkness and fear his wrath. It's the same thing all over again. Gravity Falls is going to die. all of humanity's going to die. Daniel states firmly, making Dana roll her eyes as she had predicted that. What about you guys? Well, Azaf narrowed his eyes at the paper, trying to find anything that would be a clue. Dana shrugged at her brother, as if saying, I don't care. Okay, let's start slowly. Daniel read the paper again. Okay, I don't get anything about that, even if I tried to read it like a snail. Do you have any clue, Af? The red-haired turned to his black-haired friend. The raven-haired one nodded as he... Why are we calling them by the hair? The raven-haired one nodded as he grabbed the paper from Daniel's hand, pointing to the fourth paragraph. This talks about books, so it's obviously about the library. As a smirked, feeling a new adventure coming. Finally, we've got some clues about this case. In this case, we'll have to have a leader. I nominate myself as the leader. Let's go to the library. He started walking away, smiling just for choosing himself as the leader. Just when I thought one Dana was enough, this guy appears. At least he's smart and may help us. Also, I must admit he is a good leader. He is good as a leader. Daniel thought as he rolled his eyes and started following Azaf. Dana did the same, going behind her brother, but was totally zoning out. Heritage once forgotten? What? Daniel's eyes widened as a few ideas passed through her mind like rockets. Could it be? She sighed and rolled her eyes while smiling, noticing how dumb her idea actually was. Of course not, it's silly. It's not possible that he is alive in any way. You would have noticed since you're super observant. And with that thought, she snapped out of her dreamlike state and went to Azaf and Daniel's side. The smile still plastered on her face, but instead of a usual grin, it was a soft smile that every little girl has when she sees something pleasant or receives a great birthday or Christmas present. The three preteens barely knew they were being observed. The creature, lingering in the shadows and observing quietly, narrowed its eyes at them. It seems like they have discovered the first clue, it whispered silently, flying through the sky, swiftly passing through the clouds of water. The creature laid its glazing white eyes on the three kids, heading to the Gravity Falls Library, eager to discover more about this case and about anything else. That was the purpose of life, wasn't it? Discovering more about the world? Heritage once forgotten, soon to be banished. The creature quoted as it landed on a tree that was next to the library. As the kids opened the door and entered, it narrowed its eyes, as if the creature had a mouth. It would be grinning in victory, because it had finally won. Finally. It is my turn to get revenge on you, Cipher. Well then. It's pretty awesome. I'm really liking it. It's getting really good so far. We have about the story was updated a little bit ago. We only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more chapters. And I will do an update every time a new part comes out. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. And I will see you dudes on the flip side. Bye!